space cops. Is that what they're called?
They're not called space cops.
I'm pretty sure they're space cops. It's like highway patrol, but it's like skyway patrol.
Welcome to Heinously Uninformed,
where we recap the latest episode of the second season of The Mandalorian. I'm Caroline, and I can name 3 Star Wars movie titles, and I don't know what a Mandalorian is.
And I'm Albert, a lifelong Star Wars fan.
Hello, and welcome back to Season 2, Episode 2 of The Mandalorian, Heinously Uninformed. This episode titled The Passenger, which I noted this time.
You got it, Caroline. You got the episode title this time.
I want to be fair to Caroline last week. They only show the episode title on the screen when you're watching it. It's not listed from the episode selection. It says chapter.
That's
and
true.
a numeral. So not super fair.
I mean, the naming conventions are super annoying. It's Season 2, Episode 2, Chapter 10, The Passenger. However, on the Disney Plus menu screen, all you see is Season 2, Episode 2, Chapter 10, but no passenger. It's confusing. I don't know why TV shows do chapters like that. Like The Good Place did that too, if you watch The Good Place.
Oh, yeah. I watched it on Hulu, and I don't remember.
Well, you didn't have to recap The Good Place.
This is true. But I would love to do that because I love that show.
I love that show too. But anyways, let's talk about another show we're both lukewarm about.
I'm mega. Well, I'm not even lukewarm. I mean, okay. So I make like a like and dislike. I did it last week. I did it this week. Last week I had some likes. The music, whatever. This week, no likes. I didn't like the episode.
0 likes.
Mm-hmm. And one dislike. I said
just one.
Just one, but it's very encapsulating. No character development, except we now know who the season villain is. It's Baby Yoda. He's the fucking villain of this fucking The Mandalorian. He's the villain.
Yeah.
That's it.
Last week I got the impression you didn't like Baby Yoda. What I'm hearing now is a continuation of that, even so far to put Baby Yoda as the series villain.
Yeah.
However, after watching this episode, I'm on Team Caroline here.
Yep.
Baby Yoda is a bit of a dick in this episode.
Yeah, I'm like, you're eating like embryos. Like, this is fucked up. And not just like one kind of embryo. Like, he was eating multiple embryos of different species. He's relentless.
And one of those embryos is like he's eating the last of this species. Yeah. It's like an endangered species.
He like literally doesn't have any fuck left in him. I don't know if he had any to begin with. He's a baby, so like I don't know. There's just he doesn't give a shit.
It's true. He's a baby. But my overall impression of this episode is reminiscent of some of the like misfires of season 1 where because both seasons of The Mandalorian are shortened, right? They're not your typical 10 episodes. They're like 8 episodes. So each episode carries a lot of weight to it. It really has to be able to propel the narrative in a way that's meaningful and important and thematically resonant. However, there are episodes like this that are sort of what I would describe as kind of filler, where
that's how I felt.
Yeah, where it's like the plot is really just there to fill time rather than really confront our characters with any sort of meaningful conflict or change. And I think that Baby Yoda is emblematic of that, where there is no real consequence to him eating these eggs. There's no real arc. There's no change.
No,
right?
Do his hands even get swatted? No. Like he gets like a stop it. But like no actual stuff, like no swatting. Not that I think that people should be hitting children.
Wow, babies. Caroline. Abusive parent.
Yeah.
Over here.
I love my cat and he loves me.
I'll also mention I got surgery a few days ago.
Oh, yes. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I have a bandage on my neck. For the listeners, you can't see it, but for those following us on Instagram and YouTube, you can get a clear view of a different look I'm pulling off. I have my hair pulled back. I got my bandage showing proudly where I had a minor non-cancerous lump removed, and I'm feeling good. I'm high on pain meds, and so I have this narked out energy to me for this episode.
Yeah.
So this is an exclusive drugged up Albie episode for sure. I also watched the episode while drugged up, so I don't know if that will affect my sort of recap
Ooh,
review of
okay.
this, but we will see. But I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Yeah.
Okay. Well, great. Uh,
Yeah.
Also election shit, but let's
Oh, yeah.
not.
We're still in the midst of that.
Yeah, it's
We'll
like
s-
the third Tuesday of the week. It feels awful.
yeah.
Yes.
But at least we have some really good Star Wars, right,
Yes.
Caroline?
Oh, amazing.
Let's get into it.
Amazing.
Let's start
Yes.
recapping it.
Okay.
So, season 2, episode 2, chapter 10, The Passenger, starts off right where we left off from the previous season 2 premiere, which is Mando and Baby Yoda just driving in the sunset, carrying that Boba Fett armor, and they're sort of ambushed by a group of like raiders that reminded me of Mad Max. If you're familiar with Mad Max,
Yeah, I saw like the newest one with what's his name?
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. I almost said Tom Holland. It's not Tom Holland. That would no. But it's funny.
I'd see it, Caroline.
I'd watch it.
I'd
It was
watch it.
great. Yeah. But I was watching, this show, and I thought at first, I was like, oh, there's like, they're rock mining. Like, okay, very cool. And then like, I see them set up the trip rope, and I'm like, I'm writing furiously on my notes, not mining. This is bad.
Yeah,
It's a setup, a total setup.
They look shady for sure right off the bat. But yeah, I think those goons reminded me of like the goons from Mad Max. But
yeah,
but they lay a trap for Mando and Baby Yoda, and I erroneously said that Mando doesn't have a name. Mando does have a name. I forgot that it was revealed in the season finale of season 1.
Did they say it in this episode what his name is?
No, they did not.
Oh, okay, because he's still Night Vader in all of my notes.
No,
by the way, so.
You're still writing Night Vader in your notes?
I'm not even writing Night Vader. I'm writing KV. So
KV. Oh, Caroline.
Baby Yoda's
well, when
BY.
when his name does appear in the show, I'll bring it up to you. But
okay.
I totally forgot about it. But everyone calls him Mando. But why don't you walk us through what happens next once they're ambushed?
Okay, so there's a tripwire. His pod racer thing explodes. And then Baby Yoda held at knife point. He coos like a maggot child that he is. And then...
Did you say, wait, what did you say? Maggot child?
He's a maggot child.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I don't like him. I don't like maggots either. There we go.
Wow.
It's Baby Yoda. He's a maggot child.
Yeah.
He can't care for himself. Like... maggots can't do anything either. They just eat. And guess what Baby Yoda does this whole episode? He just fucking eats.
He just eats. But yeah, you're right. Baby Yoda is held at knife point, which if you've seen season 1, is not the first time that Baby Yoda's life has been threatened in this way.
Oh.
There's been guns pointed at him. Did you, I forgot, did you watch the recap ahead of this episode?
I didn't for the first episode because I wanted to come in as blind as possible. And then this one... I figured it wouldn't hurt. There was like 5 seconds of Baby Yoda using the Force at the beginning. It was literally 5 seconds or less of like before last episode. And then the rest of it was that last episode.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Well, in that recap, there's a beady looking robot that's pointing a gun at Baby Yoda. So Baby Yoda is no stranger to being in these situations of peril. But for whatever reason, because we all know Mando, this alien who has a knife to Baby Yoda is not a threat. Like we've seen like Mando get out of more difficult situations. So for me watching this, I'm like, it's just a matter of time that smaller alien who doesn't really pose that much of a threat.
No.
Will be
disarmed.
I was
watching this and I was like, is he really gonna he's like, I'll give you whatever you want. Yeah. And I was kind of just like, what's gonna happen? And then so he trades him the jetpack.
The jetpack.
Also, way off. I started saying they're trying to get the baby, which then made me think of Austin Powers and Mini-Me and Fat Bastard. And then anytime I saw Baby Yoda for the next 5 minutes, I kept thinking of him being like, the baby, give me the baby.
Give me the baby.
Which is just not remotely the Mandalorian at all.
Oh, but I do love that little riff. I want to see the Austin Powers world
Right?
cross connect with Star Wars in
I
some
would
way.
watch the shit out of that.
Oh my god! Imagine Mike Myers. But
So
yeah,
good.
so the jetpack we learn is remote controlled. He's never done that before. He's never sort of remotely controlled it like a drone before. So
Really?
when he took the jetpack and like touched his wrists, he launched the jetpack into the sky. I guess it makes sense because how else? But we've just never seen it used
Yeah.
independently from his back. It's never like been removed and used in an offensive way it did. But yeah, he launches this smaller alien into the sky and he just plops down. But now they're on foot and they're heading to a famous location in the Star Wars
I
universe.
don't reckon. Is it another? I almost wrote Tiki Bar just to piss you off. I didn't. I wrote Cantina.
It is the famous Mos Eisley Cantina from the
Okay.
first Star Wars film, A New Hope.
Okay.
Star Wars Episode 4. But yeah, it's the same cantina. So he's on foot carrying Boba Fett's armor and Baby Yoda, you know, just narrowly getting away from these raiders. And we're in this location. Do you remember the cantina? I think I asked you this on the first episode.
I only remember that there was like loud music and that it's like a bar and they're drinking, but I don't remember anything that like happens there.
I'll say it didn't feel the same way when we first met the cantina. I guess you could meet a setting, but it was just kind of lifeless. Whereas in the first Star Wars movie, there was like so much activity. There was like aliens over here and there. There's like music playing, but it was like it was like a bar on a Tuesday night at like 6 p.m. Like it was empty. It was weird.
It wasn't bumping.
It wasn't
Is
bumping.
what you're saying.
No. Yeah, it wasn't. I wouldn't party there.
No.
It's not something. I think it's lost its charm after like decades of war and occupation. So
Yeah.
So what happens in the cantina, Caroline?
I know he meets the character that we know, well, that I know from last week. Don't remember her name, even though you told me.
It's all right.
And she is gambling against a huge ant, which is triggering for me because I have an ant problem in my condo right now.
That ant's character name is Dr. Mandible, apparently. And
Right.
they're like this super genius race of aliens. But I like that his name's just Dr. Mandible. It's such like a 1950s.
Yeah, he also looked very 1950s in his quality.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, they're just playing a healthy game of Sabacc, which is a game we've seen in the Star Wars universe before. It's actually the same game that Lando Calrissian, I think I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, against Han Solo, and he wagered the Millennium Falcon, in which he lost the game, and Han Solo became the owner of the Millennium Falcon. Do you know that?
No.
It's a gambling game that's popular in the Star Wars universe. That's all you really need to know.
I also just remember, I know last season I feel like we talked about, was it the Millennium Falcon? Was it the Millennium Falcon? Was it the Millennial Falcon?
Oh no,
also,
did I mispronounce it?
Well, I don't know, because I don't know how you say it. And also I thought it was in Star Trek, and it's not. I guess it's in this universe, which I think you already told me.
Oh yeah.
So
I did frown at this little exchange though, because Peli Motto, I think that's Amy Sedaris' character name. You know, she's just like, Mando, you met the Mandalorian, but you killed him. He's like, no, it was a fraud. Actually, I'm back at ground, like back to the drawing board. I got no leads. And then somehow this ant that she's gambling with is like,
just happens.
I got a lead on this Mandalorian deal. And I'm like, what? How
convenient.
It's very convenient.
So convenient. It's almost like she knew that he was still going to be looking. So maybe she is the season villain.
Oh, I doubt it.
Just a wild goose chase. Waste his time.
Well, the thing is, Caroline, we know who the villain is if you watch season 1. So
Baby Yoda?
It's not Baby Yoda.
Oh.
Baby Yoda's the hero. Anyways, this Dr. Mandible hooks them up with a contact that has information on the whereabouts of more Mandalorians, and we go to the hangar to meet with the titular episode, The Passenger. One thing I'll mention is they're cooking some meat. I think that's some of the meat from episode 1, right? Season 2,
because she
1.
said, "Did you bring some back?" And then cut to A roast.
Yeah, roast. And I know you mentioned on the last episode you haven't been to Disneyland in Anaheim with the new Galaxy's Edge
No, not yet.
location, but there's this food restaurant area in the Star Wars section, and they are cooking their meat using the same pod racing engine that's featured in this
Oh.
episode. So it was a nice little nod to that. It was cool to see something I saw in real life at
Yeah.
Disneyland being replicated in the show.
That is kind of cool.
It was very cool.
Yeah.
It made me hungry though. Very
I
nostalgic
know.
for Disneyland,
I
to
was
be
like,
honest.
I miss Disney so much, but also don't open it yet because it's dangerous.
It's too dangerous.
And
Yeah.
I would be tempted. I wouldn't go anyway. But I would want to go.
Yeah, totally.
But yes, cooking the steak, we meet a frog lady.
Lady.
That's how it was described.
In the subtitles?
In my subtitle, it said frog lady screams or something.
I'll say the frog lady reminded me immediately, and I'll give the show props where it's due. You know, I like that they're using a lot of practical like costuming and puppeteering work.
Mhm.
It's very, very tactile and very realistic. It looks very cool, but the design reminded me of this 1990s live action show called Dinosaurs. Did you ever watch that
Oh my
as a
god.
kid?
The baby was so do I not like babies? The baby was so annoying. Do I hate
Hey.
children? I don't know.
But you know what show I'm talking about, right? It's like a
Absolutely.
sitcom where it's like
Yeah.
dinosaurs
Mhm.
dressed as or like acting like humans, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I agree with you. The baby from Dinosaurs was annoying.
Fucking
But
handful.
this frog lady looked so similar to one of those
Yeah.
dinosaurs from that sitcom. What was your initial impression of this frog lady?
I was kind of like I knew immediately this was gonna be a filler episode. I was like, they're not gonna be able to communicate, which is like fine, whatever. But like, something's gonna happen, and it's not gonna be like plot moving. Like they're not gonna get her to where she needs to go. Like I kind of knew as soon as we met her, I was like, she's not getting there with her eggs, not in one piece. And I guess
Yeah.
she might get there in one piece. Maybe we'll find out next week. But
I thought actually I'll push back a little bit. I thought it was a big issue that she couldn't communicate. Like the language was such a tremendous barrier where they couldn't
Yeah.
communicate. I'm like, then you're not really participating in the narrative. Like,
no,
and I was like, okay,
was
I'll give it the
super
benefit of
annoyed.
the doubt.
Yeah.
We'll see where this goes. But literally, there's no like. I mean, there's a point where her voice is unlocked, which we'll get to a little bit
Right.
later.
But
But
just
there
the
wasn't
way-
much there.
No, it's just the fact also that like he knew that she couldn't understand, and he kept talking to her and being like, "Well, may as well settle in for the night." And I'm like, she doesn't know what the fuck you're saying. Like, this
Yeah.
is not like, and you're just like, I don't know. I had problems.
Yeah, I hear you. So Frog Lady, you know, the Frog Lady will give Mando, or at least the Frog Lady's husband has
Mhm.
seen Mandalorians. So the trade, the deal is take me to my husband to impregnate these eggs because
Mhm.
we're a dying breed of
Yeah.
an alien race of some sort. And I'll tell you, I'll point you in the right direction. My husband will point you in the right direction. However, we can't drive in hyperspeed. You know, the speed will damage the egg, so we have to drive
In
at
real
sublight.
time. Yeah.
And yeah,
Or
like
sublight.
it's sublight, Caroline. Please use the proper
No,
terminology.
it's called real time.
Real time. But so this is like the big issue for me in this episode, where they really dramatically set up the importance of these eggs. Like it's so important that they can't hyperspeed. They can't. That's like the whole crux. That's like
Right, because
it's
they
really
could
precious
get
cargo, right?
damaged. Mm-hmm.
But then Baby Yoda, and I
Just
see this
like-
immediately happening. Baby Yoda just eyes the eggs in the hangar
See,
and just like, yeah.
when I saw him seeing the eggs, I was like, oh, like maybe he's like, hey, another baby. Well, look at
Yes,
that,
I
another
thought that
baby.
too.
And I thought
I thought
maybe
that was
he
going
was
on
gonna
too.
like connect with the eggs. And then next thing you know, he's slurping them up like boba. And I'm
I
just
did-
like, what the fuck?
I had Boba. That's so good.
Gross.
But I had the same feeling when he like hugged the vat.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, he's connecting with them.
Mhm. Finally,
He's
something
like-
he can identify with. Amazing. Good for you.
No, but he's just
No.
like Boba.
I'm
Yummy,
fucking
yummy.
hungry. Yeah. Ugh.
It's so gross. And I'll say season 1 also has this like pretty important, or just like this, the second episode of season 1, there's this big epic battle, and the item that they had to take was an egg,
Mhm.
and the characters in that episode ate the egg in a really gross way. It was really gross.
Ew.
And as someone who loves eggs,
Mhm.
I just got to put that out there. I love eggs. Star Wars, specifically The Mandalorian, has ruined eggs for me.
Oh.
This is the second time eggs have been just bad representation of
Yeah.
eggs. I gotta say,
Mhm.
I demand better representation for eggs, at least in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
But with that, we're off. We're heading
Mhm.
on the Razor Crest on sublight speeds to deliver this frog lady and her eggs to the frog husband. And then Baby Yoda just slurping those eggs.
Eating them like it's boba.
Yeah.
But they go to bed. They turn in,
Mhm.
or at least Night Vader and Baby Yoda turn in for the night.
Yeah.
Until the engines are beep. I thought the engine was beeping. I was like, something's broken. Is there going to be an oxygen leak?
Hmm.
No. Space cops. Is that what they're called?
They're not called space cops.
I'm pretty sure they're space cops. It's like highway patrol, but it's like skyway patrol.
I mean, you're 100% right. They are authorities, but there are no cops in the world of Star Wars, right?
I mean,
Yeah, they're pretty much cops.
I was like, they're cops. I don't like them.
Yeah,
Whatever.
all right. So we get so they're held by these two X-wings, piloted by Captain Carson Teva and another pilot, Trapper Wolf.
Do we know them, or do you have this written down because you paid attention?
I have this written down because I'm the one that's supposed to be informed.
Oh, okay.
So I did some research, but
Yes.
the person playing Captain Carson Teva you might recognize as Paul Sun-Hyun Lee from Kim's Convenience, the sitcom show. I hear pretty good things about it.
I have not heard of it, but if it sounds good, maybe I'll check it out.
It's good. I hear it's good.
Okay.
And then the other pilot is Trapper Wolf, played by Dave Filoni. And Dave Filoni is one of the executive producers of the show, one of the writers, one of the directors of the series. He's also one of he's highly regarded in the Star Wars fandom because he's done the animated shows. He's done a lot of really good Star Wars stuff. He's like people tweet at him all the time, just asking him random Star Wars questions, and he has like the answers to almost everything. So that's like a little cameo for you.
Yeah.
That guy. But they pull over the Mandalorian. And could you explain to me why, like what this exchange was going on? Like they didn't ask for driver's license or ID. What do they do?
I wrote down, you need to send us a ping to check for Imperial handouts. I know that there was more before that part of the conversation where they're like, oh, they weren't even saying like, is everything okay in there? You're driving real slow. They were just like, hey, I don't remember what they asked him. And then he's like, I don't know. And then they asked for the ping. He says, it's not working. I don't have that update. This is a vintage. I don't know if you can tell, but we're vintage here.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, let me turn it on because I don't want to go anywhere with you guys. And then he takes off. And there is a space chase.
Space chase!
Mm-hmm.
But just to give you some more context as to what's going on here, I mentioned the show's foundation, or like the cop stuff. You know, Mandalorian is haunted by something he's done in season 1, and that's why sort of there's we later find out that there's an arrest warrant for him.
Right. Okay. Because I was wondering, I was like, is he not supposed to have this frog lady? Are they not supposed to know that he has like a baby Yoda? Like I thought maybe they were gonna check for that. I didn't realize it was like maybe a personal problem that he had.
The real instigating thing here is that the New Republic, which the X-wing pilots are a part of, are rebuilding society in the wake of the fall of the Empire. So that's why Mando keeps saying my ship is pre-Empire, like it won't have the things, because I think the Empire like started putting these tracking devices on all the ships to just sort of like monitor every single person in the universe.
Okay.
But So I think the New Republic fighters are like very cautious. They're like, we don't know if you are like part of Darth Vader's group or like if you're like part of the Empire. So that's why they're super cautious.
Okay.
And I did think it was right before we launched into the space chase. I thought it was really cool. It was like one of the X-Wing fighters was like, "Hey, can I talk to you real quick on this other channel?" And then it's silent for a little bit. We get a beat, and then the X-Wings, their ships start to open up into fighter mode. Oh. I'm not sure if you've seen that before, but
I haven't.
When the wings are closed, they're just sort of like patrol. But when the wings open, that's when, you know, so that's like the equivalent of cocking a gun, essentially.
Oh, so that was why he got the indication, like, oh, like they need the ping.
Yeah.
Well, see, I thought like, I guess because I've like worked on set and I've like used like the handhelds, and so like when they're like go to channel 2, and then like when you're on set, like half of the set will switch to channel 2 to hear what everyone's saying on the secret channel. So I thought he was gonna switch channels, and then I was like, he probably can't switch to channel 2 because that's private. It's a private network.
But you're right.
Yeah.
Space Chase though.
Space Chase, which as soon as I saw them heading for the canyon, I was like, they're gonna go in it. And then I was like, either two things can happen. A wing is going to get clipped off, or they're just going to fucking crash completely. And guess what? Wow. They fucking crashed completely.
They sure do. They sure do. The thing that launched this space race was one of the X-Wing pilots was like, "Hey, were you near this Republic correctional transport thing?" And that is a direct reference to a season 1 episode where Mando, I'll just tell you this now briefly because it comes helpful later. Mando and a ragtag group of evil people break out. They do a prison break. It was a really cool episode.
Okay.
So that's why he's on the radar. That's why the space race really kicks into gear because he's on the run from the law because he broke someone out of prison.
But like, they're asking, like, were you near there? It's kind of like, well, when? Yesterday? No, I was killing a crate dragon. Sorry.
It's true.
So, like, he could have been like, fucking no, I wasn't there. Like, I haven't been anywhere near there in a while. And so he could have talked his way out of it. I'm just saying.
I agree. You know? He lost his cool, but the Razor Crest does crash. And, you know, I don't know about you, Caroline, but when I saw that ship crash, I'm like, yeah, that ship's done for.
That's what I have so many problems with the rest of the episode because it's smoking.
It literally broke in half a little bit, right?
No, there's a hole in it. So like if you're traveling through space, I don't know if Star Wars space is anything like our universe in space where there's like, I don't know, this thing called pressure. And having airlocks to like make sure that the pressure where you are is like healthy for you. I'm just saying that if there's a hole in your ship, you probably can't go through space.
Sure,
so
but we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They landed on the surface of an ice planet that must be the same pressure levels from the interior of the ship, and let's give them all the benefit of the doubt. Even with all that said, the ship looked like it was messed up.
Bad. It was very bad.
So I was confused because what happens later, but I'm like, okay, the show's winning me over. It's winning me back over because I'm like, oh, real consequences. This is like
I was like,
real meaningful stuff going on here.
I thought I was maybe wrong with being like, this is going to be a filler episode. I was like,
me too.
Maybe something's going to happen here. Stuff does happen, but like literally nothing important.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of the perceived consequences are kind of just undone by the end of the episode.
Yeah.
So the other thing that I want to tell onto this crash ship is that Mando is the frog lady's like, oh, please go check my babies are okay, and then he sees Baby Yoda eating eggs again. He's eating it again.
Like, I'm like, there's got to be some you can't just be like, no. And he didn't even do the no yet. Like, he's just like, hey, cut it out. It's like, those are.
I told you to stop.
He's eating flesh. Like, by the way, like
he's eating her babies, and you can see, like, I think there's something really impressive because when they crashed, the frog lady, the look of the frog lady looked a little different. It looked a little cold, like the skin texture looked a little blue. So I felt lot of sympathy for this frog lady who was like
Yeah.
cold and worried about their children.
She's
And
like
then
the last of her
Baby
kind.
Yoda just like loop, 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 eating.
Bobaing it
her
up over
babies.
there. Fucked up, man. He's such a villain. He's a villain.
Truly.
Eating babies.
Yeah.
A baby eating baby.
It's so gross.
It's so gross. This is okay. So I think this is the part where Night Vader is like, well, the ship's pretty broken. So it's also dark. So we're just going to go to bed and we'll figure it out in the morning. Hope you don't freeze to death. And she's I'm fucking cold. My babies are cold. And this is when she, because they can't communicate, this is when she sees the helmet and then I guess like, what's the word I'm looking for? Possesses it.
I'd like to think of it as
it.
like a karaoke plugin. She plugged in a mic to the droid and just like used it as a karaoke machine.
I'm considering it like a satanic possession.
Oh my god.
A demonic possession.
Like she possessed a robot.
Right. Yeah. She's like, I need to get my babies impregnated, my eggs.
Yeah. Well, that robot is one of the ragtag members of this prison break. At the end of that episode, the droid had betrayed part of. I mean, they're all bad people to be honest, but this droid was found out about Baby Yoda's worth by eavesdropping on like his like voicemails on the ship, and so he's about to kill Baby Yoda, and that's what you see in the recap. Okay. Baby Yoda's like trying to use the Force, but Mando kills him first. So those are the remains of one of the evil crew members from that prison break.
Casually carrying a fucking corpse.
Yeah. Well, it's a robot. It's a cyborg or some sort. So it's okay. So but it's voiced by Richard Ayoade. I think I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. But do you know him? He's a indie filmmaker, actor, quirky guy.
The name sounds familiar. I bet if I saw his face, I'd know it.
Yeah, I'll show you a picture afterwards. But he's one of those indie quirky guys. And he came back this episode to voice the robot, which is his name is Zero.
Okay. So
which we'll never probably need to know.
I will. Yeah, I feel like unless he gets repossessed by someone else, he'll just continue to be that corpse in the background.
Yeah.
Creepy.
So what was so important that she had to like resurrect this robot to communicate with Mando?
She was telling him pretty much that he was a dishonorable fuck and he needs to keep his promise. Like, how fucking dare you bring me here? I'm in more danger now. I left. I came with you. You said you were going to take me to my husband. And this was our deal. And you're not keeping your end of the deal. And that's really fucked up. And he was like, I can't help it. Shit's broken. She's like, fuck you. Fix it. So then he's like, okay. And then he gets out like the world's tiniest toolbox to fix a ship that's smoking from multiple places. There's bits missing, shrapnel everywhere. He goes out and he like walks around it, acts like he's able to like with one wrench fix this whole Death Star. Is that a ship?
I actually rewatched this little section because I'm like, at the end of the episode, I'm like, wait, the ship works after what he did?
That's what I'm saying. He didn't even do anything yet. Because he goes over, he like pops open, he like opens one section. It's probably already open because it's missing pieces. And then Baby Yoda comes around and is like, pay attention to me.
Yeah. Well, there is like there's a fade, like the camera looks up to the sky.
Oh,
and
that's right. There's a
fades out. So there's like some sort of passage of time going on here,
I was trying to figure out because sometimes when I watch shows on these streaming services, I forget that a lot of them are cut for commercial. And I wanted to ask you, because I don't pay for my own Disney Plus programming, are there 2 tiers of Disney Plus where there's commercials and non-commercials? Because it felt like it was cut for a fucking commercial, which felt tacky for me.
I know what you mean, I'm like, but there's no commercials.
That's tacky. Okay.
Yeah. It's just a tacky edit, I guess.
Got it.
But Mando apparently repaired the ship well enough to the point where when Baby Yoda turns the corner, is like, hey, come over here. Something's happening. Mando sees a trail of footsteps, which means, and the frog lady's nowhere to be found.
Right.
Nor are the eggs. So both Mando and Baby Yoda have to venture into these spooky ice caves, which it's a bad idea.
It just got real. It went from like, oh, things are bad to like, this is the worst possible. Yeah. This is a nightmare.
I really don't understand why that frog lady went. I mean,
I
there's
kind
no
of
way she would have known that there was a hot lake in there, right?
right. She's like, we're surrounded by ice. Surely this could mean that there's something warm. Like, no, if I'm in an ice cave, the last thing I would expect to find is a fucking hot spring.
Yeah.
By the
Maybe she
way,
just got frustrated. We'll
right?
never know
Maybe
because
she
she
was like
doesn't talk
walking.
to
She's like,
us.
I gotta like blow off some steam. I'm gonna take my eggs with me because I don't trust that baby,
Yeah.
even though she hasn't
Which,
seen him.
correct me if I'm wrong, Caroline, but she has, and maybe in the entire episode, doesn't ever acknowledge that there are missing eggs, nor does she acknowledge that Baby
I
Yoda is eaten
I
or
thought
seen.
like later when they're like recollecting the eggs, I thought she was gonna be like, there's 7 missing. I'm supposed to have 21 and there's 14 and I need to know. And she's gonna
Again,
like hold up a
there's
gun.
no
There's no right.
consequences
So
to
then,
this.
and I feel like if these are your fucking last eggs and you guys are gonna die if they don't get fertilized, I would have a sticky note with like, okay, there's 21
How
eggs.
many? Yeah, just counting
like I
every
would
single
know.
time.
And anytime we're just like hanging out, I'd be like, okay, we're all here. Like nothing.
Like a roll call.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'd be like, oh,
I'm
yeah,
right there with you, Caroline.
Yeah, no, she like is like, these are my eggs, I guess.
Yeah.
This is it. But yes, so they find her.
She's just sauna.
Yeah, like
and a bathing.
I don't know. She's just like
But
laying
she's keeping
with
warm,
her
right?
eggs. Yes, I guess yes.
It looks warm.
It looks warm. She's like very chill, I guess, but they're like, okay, we got to get back to the ship. I can't remember if it's like because he feels like there could be a perceived danger or if he thinks that the ship is fixed enough that like
No,
they need to
I think
go.
Mando's just like, I can't protect you here. Like this
that's
we're
right.
really
that is what he
vulnerable
says.
right
Yeah,
here.
like
We
if we're
gotta go
spread
back to
out
ship.
and I don't know what's here, so we got to go back.
And did you see Baby Yoda? Like he was about to eat another egg right in front of the mother.
In front of her. And I feel like if I was her and I saw him try to eat one, I would be like, and he's like, no. Like, doesn't he even say then, like, I said no? I would be like, hold the fuck up. Did you see this motherfucker eat my baby? Like, I feel like if I saw someone telling somebody else to not eat my child, I'd be like, did they try that already? Physically? Did they physically try it?
That's such an excellent point, Caroline. Why did the mom just wait, let's hold up.
I mean, because
has this happened?
Even if there's a language barrier, you know when someone is like this, you're like, oh, that means stop. That means don't do that. So clearly, if they're saying it, especially so aggressively, like that means that there's probably, that's not the only time that it's happened. And she's like, oh, another one gone. I don't know.
Another one bites the dust.
Yeah.
But again, like I'm like, there's no consequences to this. So it did segue into this moment where I'm like, oh, okay, maybe something bad will happen because Baby Yoda wanders off, disappointed, still hungry,
right,
apparently.
and just taking note of the, unique features of the cave.
Yeah, and then the camera pans out. It's revealed that there's all these like little eggs in there. Not the same frog eggs, but like ice eggs. Just like things that have you seen the Alien series, the Alien movies?
I saw the first one actually during quarantine. I had never seen it before. And so it was one of my quarantine movies was watching Alien.
So that ice layer with all those little eggs reminded me of the aliens, the xenomorphs from the Alien movies.
Yeah.
So when Baby Yoda cracked one open and it was like gross, this like spidery like embryo thing, I legitimately thought that Baby Yoda was going to get sick. Like,
right.
I thought it was going to be like this like sick narrative where like, oh, Baby Yoda is going to physically get ill by eating this. And like, then Mando's going to have to really confront the fact that he might not be a good caretaker for this child. Right. Like really just like, I thought that was going to be like sort of the whole consequence arc learning moment
like,
from this.
If we can't do like, is it hyperspeed? Like we can't like we can't like go fast because the eggs will die. But if I don't get him the care that he needs fast enough, like I thought there was going to be some confrontation maybe of like moral, like there's like, what do we do? And like instead we get some Harry Potter fucking Forbidden Forest shit. Some Aragog motherfuckers come out.
Ice spiders.
Yeah. It's just,
ice spiders.
Which they're scary, but I also feel like I wouldn't have placed them in the universe. Is this our first time ever in the series seeing ice spiders in the world of Star Wars?
I doubt it. It is the first time I've seen it like this depicted this way on screen. But I do know the design of those ice spiders are like found in like concept art from one of the original artists of
Oh,
the
okay.
Star Wars world. So it's not a foreign or new thing, but it is something that's been like it's not a new thing, but it's new
Yeah.
to people seeing the show.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, you're right. Like just like the dam broke loose, and now there's this like action adventure ice spider chase through the
Yeah.
ice caves, which is a consequence of Baby Yoda's actions once again, because I think they only started erupting when Baby Yoda ate one of those
Right. Like he
eggs.
cracked them open and then it was just like somehow they all got this sick. I guess I'm wondering because when he cracked it open, it looked dead. It looked like he was eating it and he had opened it too soon. And
Yeah,
so when they all started hatching, I was like, hold on. Like, y'all were not ready. Like, the ones that came out from the back of the cave, y'all were ready. But all of
yeah,
these ones that are just hatching, I'm like, why did that one die? Like, I just didn't. I'm like, this seems very convenient that you can just
totally,
hatch at
totally,
will. But if you're like taken from your egg, you're dead.
totally. Yeah,
Convenience.
I didn't really understand that bit, but it did trigger some PTSD in me because earlier this week I went to my car to move it after it's been parked for a while. I step in, I get into my driver's seat, and I notice all the spider web all over me. I'm
No.
like, this is so weird. And I start looking around my car, and there's spider web all over the ceiling of my car. There's
Stop.
spider web all over my car wheel. There's spider web all over my dashboard, and there are tiny spiders everywhere,
No.
all over me. And there's just web all over me. I'm like, how did this happen? I get out of the car immediately and I just start sweeping everything out. But they came in through my ventilation system and just started setting up shop.
I'm like convinced because I have almost died from a spider in my car. I'm convinced that that's how I'm going to go out. Cause like I was like leaving a parking structure. I was driving up out of the ground and I flipped my visor down. And what comes out of my fucking visor? A spider. And I almost drove into the wall because I was like, no, it was
God.
so scary. So
Oh my gosh.
you were triggered by the spiders. I was triggered by
Yeah.
that big ass ant in the beginning.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Fuck these bugs.
Too many
Yeah,
insects.
you
but,
guys like cut it out.
I appreciate that Frog Lady like really came out in that final chase, really became a frog. She like
I was
uses her tongue to
confused.
get her clothes.
Yeah.
She starts leaping around like a frog. I'm like, okay, this is a frog
It
lady.
was just though, because like there were a couple. The way that they cut it, she was sometimes running upright, and then sometimes she was like frogging, and I was
Yeah.
like, "What's faster?" Because when you're frogging, it honestly seems like you're going slower than when you're running up on 2 feet, but it looks weird when you're running up on 2 feet. What is that?
Yeah, yeah. But they flee these freaking ice spiders. They get to the ship and they're like they're in the cockpit. The doors like closing in on them. Baby Yoda starts to get spiders on them, and then there's this like really dramatic moment where the frog lady shoots the spiders off of Baby Yoda, and they
Right.
have like a heart to heart. And I'm like, what does that mean?
It felt
Like, I'm
really
like, why is this
out of place. Is it because she's like, "You killed my children, and I'm still gonna save you"? Like, no, because she
Maybe.
hasn't even like to the audience identified the fact that he has been eating her children.
Yeah, she hasn't acknowledged it.
So
at
there's
all.
no acknowledgement. So I'm kind of just like, that's not the yeah. I thought it was maybe because she seemed like this like meek maternal character, and all of a sudden she's like wielding a gun, which apparently
Yeah.
like moms could never wield a gun.
Yeah, that really fell flat for me.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
was
why is this played for such dramatic, like there's such a
Right.
dramatic pause for this.
Right.
I'm
And
like, it's not that meaningful.
No, and then like when they do get back to the rest of the spiders, and all of a sudden Night Vader's like lighting them on fire with his wrist, I'm like, that would have been my first fucking weapon of choice instead of picking them off individually. No, like the door's not closing. I'm still gonna continue to shoot them individually. No, light them on fire. Like
He did use his fire earlier, so
Oh.
it is he did use it, but he should have been using it the
I
entire
was
way
taking
through.
notes. I only noted when he was using those bombs, which seemed to work pretty well.
Oh yeah, the bomb. Oh yeah, that was a clever little.
It was
technique he
clever.
did.
And I can see
Yeah.
obviously why you can't use that in your ship because it's already been exploded and who knows
Yeah.
how bad it is.
It's true.
But the fire, I feel like he could have used it sooner.
Yeah,
but,
I agree.
Yeah.
But they're able to close the cockpit doors, and then miraculously, my jaw dropped. I'm like, what? And he literally lifts up his ship,
It made
and it's
me
moving. It's
angry.
functional.
I got fucking angry.
I got a little angry too, Caroline.
It's like,
I'm
this
sorry.
is bullshit. This is all
I was
convenient
like,
bullshit.
wait, the ship was basically
It
broken
was
2 scenes
smoking.
ago.
It was
was
smoking. And you
broken.
weren't even fixing the part that was smoking. You're on the
And
other
then-
side.
And then they pull the rug from us again. So a giant ice spider jumps on the ship and brings it back down. So they are fated to die. This is the end. They're going to die. But what happens, Caroline?
Well, the cops come in and save the day.
I have a very funny pun for this. Can I tell you what the pun is?
Please.
You know the term Deus Ex Machina?
Yes.
Well, this was a Deus Ex-Wing Machina.
Oh.
Hey! Woo!
That's very good.
So they're saved miraculously by the space cops played by those 2 actors I mentioned earlier.
Is this Space Force? Is this the famed Space Force?
No, Caroline.
They come in and they're save the day.
Republic.
No, they're the New Republic Space Force. They use the Force in space.
All right. I'm
Anyway,
going to argue with you there. But the X-Wing, they save them. Really triumphant moment. And they start to recap the events of that episode I referenced, the prison break. It's like, hey, did you do this? They're like, am I arrested? He's like, well, you also did these good things, so you should be, but no.
But we won't.
We won't. And then Mando's like, well, if you're not going to arrest me, can you help me out? And they're like, you're lucky if we don't blow you up right now. And they just drive off, which is like the biggest jerk thing ever.
Also, like, kind of typical cop where they're like, oh, you have a flat tire and you don't have a spare? Well, have a nice night.
Peace out.
Yeah, like, sounds like a personal problem. We can't write you a ticket. Fuck off. Like,
the thing is, I don't disagree with the decision to make the New Republic, like, also kind of assholes, like, kind of mean. It's nice to see that they're not just empirically good. There's like shades of gray, which I enjoy.
Yes, that's true.
They literally just came down to shoot all these spiders and save them for them to only do like a half measure and just like, okay, we spent all our ammunition saving you from these spiders, but I know you just need a quick solder to make sure you can fly correctly, but we're just gonna leave you here. So I'm like,
hopefully there are no more spiders. It's like I got mad. I was like, y'all are gonna like tell him that you know everything. You're gonna be like, but we're gonna let you go. And then just be like, cool, like, can you do like one more thing because we're square? And they're like, fuck you. And then and then gone.
It just felt super wishy-washy, like the whole episode, because this is essentially the end of the episode. Mando fixes a ship and they're continuing on with the same quest that they started off with, which is deliver Frog Lady and her babies to this planet. So there wasn't really much of a movement narratively.
No.
Which I'm okay with, as long as they're able to sort of challenge our characters and learn new things, but there's no real change or consequence from any of these little things that honestly had a lot of potential.
Yeah. I thought there was going to be some like moral dilemmas with Baby Yoda. I didn't think Baby Yoda was going to be a fucking villain eating the flesh of babies of different species.
Yeah, honestly, I Baby Yoda lost a lot of respect for me this episode. Yeah. I am very upset. I'm very disappointed.
Yeah.
But the next episode should be promising, right? We're gonna finally get to our destination that we stalled out for an entire episode.
Episode 3 is gonna be another film. I just want to know if there are only 8 episodes. Y'all are really gonna use episode 2 as filler? Like they're gonna be like one episode and then filler.
Yeah.
It
could have been good filler though. It could have been like really good like character development filler.
Yep.
Like where Mando really just has to step up as a father / caretaker, or Baby Yoda has to. Because I was also remembering in season 1, Baby Yoda is also kind of a scary figure because like even with allies, Baby Yoda has like accidentally choked people before. But he's also healed characters from dying. So like he's tremendously powerful. So there is part of Mando that's like can't really rile this baby too much because he could.
Because I don't know what's gonna happen. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So no, but there wasn't any like real reckoning with any of that, which was very disappointing.
It was just a blatant attack on arachnophobes, which is really like I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
So fucked up.
It sounds like we weren't a big fan of this episode.
No.
But the ship does look really messed up by that episode. They're all cramped in the cockpit, and like literally every other part of the ship. Like it's even like kind of like tilting the sky.
It has the back is open. Again, there's a hole.
Yeah, it's fully open.
So the pressure that I have questions about.
They even reference it. They're like, oh yeah, if this door opens, we're all dead.
Right. And I'm like, is that just like a ghost ship now that's like it's on, but they're dead and it's just all night is, I don't know.
Well, hopefully they'll go fix it. But
right. Well,
this did feel like a complete missed opportunity for me personally. I wasn't a big fan of this episode. And Caroline, I'm on your side now. Right? I think Baby Yoda's a jerk. Baby Yoda ate babies. Baby Yoda is a baby eater.
Not so innocent, is he?
Not so innocent. No.
Gross.
Yeah. Well, this concludes season 2, episode 2, chapter 10 of The Passenger. Caroline, would you like to plug anything before we sign off?
You can follow me personally on Instagram. I'm at Caroline Danger. I have an Etsy store. Hopefully putting stuff up this week if my sewing machine is not broken. That's Curio by Caroline. You can follow the show also on Instagram at Heinously Uninformed. I think we're on Twitter at HEINOUSLYU. Albert, what do you have to plug?
Oh yeah, I'm a few subscriptions away on my YouTube channel from getting the coveted 100 number, and that's not that important, other than the fact that at 100 subscribers, I'm able to get a custom URL, and so I have a video coming out in 2 weeks. It's about Jumanji, and the YouTube channel is called AlbiPlayer1. So just YouTube that, and you can find me on all the socials at AlbiPlayer1 as well. But I would really hope to get some more subscriptions just so we can get that custom URL.
You guys,
and again,
do it.
It's I'm making some good videos.
Yeah, watch the
really
video.
You
guys, watch his first video. It's very good.
Oh, thank you so much, Caroline. But yeah, that concludes this episode, which left us a little bit disappointed. Hopefully, episode 3 is better.
I mean, I'm kind of just like, if the ship is busted, can they make it where they need to go with those eggs? I don't know. Is it going to be another filler episode where they're like, well, the radiator's busted, so we got to sit here for 3 days while it comes. And then it's just like 3 days pass in like a middle of nowhere planet. Yeah. I don't know how space works.
Well, here's I should mention that this episode was directed by Peyton Reed, who's never directed one of these Mandalorian episodes. He's the director of Ant-Man, and so he's privy to the Marvel universe, but this is his first time directing an episode of The Mandalorian. So maybe a new director was the wrong choice.
Whoa, I wasn't going to say it, but you said it. You said it.
I said it.
Okay.
All right. Well, have a great week.
Yeah.
Take care out there, and I'll post updates about my surgery on the social. So make sure to follow us.
Yes, follow us if you like this podcast. Leave us a nice rating and review. If you don't like it, don't say anything.
We'll eat your babies.
Yeah,
if you don't like
I'm gonna slurp them up like boba. Okay.
We're so gross, Carol.
Thai tea boba babies. Give me that. But thanks for listening, and
thanks so much for listening. Until next time, in a galaxy far, far away, we are heinously uninformed. Goodbye.
Bye.